There's a jacket behind you.
And we're back! Wait, Rivka, I think that the video is not working. And we're back with no video. And we're back with no video. Wartime Shteig audio. Shteig. Super Chulin 142. Kuf Mem Beis. The Siyat Dishmaya.
You don't want video?
I do want video, I just don't know how.
I think you have to enable.
Okay. So since we don't know how to enable video, today will be an audio share. And we'll just see this Mishnah. The Siyat Dishmaya. Hashochet l'shem Ola, says the Mishnah, if you're shechting for Ola, l'shem Zvachim, you're shechting for Zvachim, right? What's the pshat is Shlamim. Rashi says Shlamim, but our Gemara says, our Mishnah says Zvachim. L'shem Asham Taloi, if you're doing it for the Asham Taloi, which is when a person is not sure if he did kares. Something that requires kares. For example, he's not sure he ate not sure if it was accidentally his sister. Yesh l'shem Pesach is doing it for Pesach. L'shem Toda for Korban Toda. Shchitaso Pesula. So in those cases, the shchita is puzzle. And Rashi explains to us the reason that it's puzzle is because it's a derabanan. That a person shouldn't say, oh, he's being makdish this bachutz. I guess you can bring a neder and a dava. You can bring a voluntary korban bachutz. So the Gemara says you can't bring those. The Mishnah says, right? But Rabbi Shimon is machshir. Okay, we'll go into the sheet of Rabbi Shimon. Two people are holding a knife and shechting. Echad l'shum, echad mikol elu. One guy is shechting for one of all these. The echad l'shum davar kasher. And one guy is shechting for a kosher thing. Shchitaso pesula. The shchita is puzzle. Hashochet l'shem chatas. Right, so even if one of the people has one of these intentions, still aser. Hashochet l'shem chatas. Now someone's shechting for the intention of chatas, which is if you break, when you violate a kares by accident. L'shem asham vadai. So asham vadai is really just the asham, the opposite of the asham taloi. Asham vadai, it's an asham gazelos. And Asham Me'ilos, and in Asham Shefcha Charufa. And those cases, in Asham Vadai, L'Shem Bechor, L'Shem Meiser, so for the, he's thinking, even though he can't make it a Bechor, obviously, his intention, oh, he's going to shech for a Bechor firstborn. L'shem bechor, l'shem meiser, l'shem truma, shchitaso kashera. And if it's for tamura, he's checking in for tamura, which is someone mixes up the korbanos. So the shchita is kosher. So in that case, the shchita is kosher. Zeklal. This is the principle. Kol davar shenidar v'nidev. And we were thinking, what's the difference in Nidar and Nidav? Today we're thinking Nidar, Nidav. Zeklal, Rashi says, B'gemar, Shalom Aleichem, Shkoyach, Rebbitzin, for the delicious hot chocolate. Baruch D'macham Shkoyach Yivray. B'gemar, Meparish, L'asuye, Mai, The hachad bin lekula. What are we adding with the zaklal? We also have to figure out nidar and nidev. What exactly is the difference? Also shvua. Hashochet the shmo aser. So if you shech for something which you could voluntarily bring it aser, and if you can't voluntarily bring it, so it's kosher. That's what the Mishnah says. That's what the Mishnah says. Now, I'll take another sip of this delicious hot chocolate with marshmallows that you guys can't see, unfortunately. Okay. So, we're looking at this last Mishnah. I wanted to look at this last Mishnah in the Mishnayos. So, I'm going to go get it. I guess I could take the audio with me. We're going on a mission audio just across the hall. And I want to look at the Mishnayos. Because today, we're looking at the Mishnayos. Okay. Last Mishnah in the pehk. Let's go in to this Mishnah. So it's a Mishnah in the second pehk of Chulin. What's the pehk called?
Second paragraph of Chulin.
Excellent. What's the first pehk of Chulin called?
Hakosha.
Nice. And so, Zok the Gemara in Chulin, the Mishnah in Chulin, the final Mishnah. Hashochel l'shem ola, l'shem zvachim, l'shem asham tala, l'shem pesach, l'shem toda, shchita zo pesula. Rabbi Shimon machshir. Let's see the bartanura. Hashochel, Chulin bachut. So the bartanura, like Rashi says, he's shechting Chulin outside, but his intention is l'shem ola. Kevan to ola ba b'neder v'nedava. A person can say it is upon him to bring an ola. Haroeh omer, someone who sees will say, Achshav hu makdish. Right now he's being makdish and he's shechting it for an ola b'kachim b'chut mutar. I mean, he's going to think that kachim b'chut is okay. And this is the Morris Ayin, so yeah. He's going to think that kachim b'chut is okay. So when it's saying he's doing it l'shem ola, he's specifically saying out loud that he's shechting l'shem ola. Everyone knows. If it's just in his heart, it seems to be no problem. Or, Rivka, do we say that when he's doing it in his heart, that's bechedrei chadarim? Right? We said everything that is usher to do because of Morris Ayin is usher to do bechedrei chadarim, in the inner chambers. So does that mean that it's usher for him to even think about the ola? Even though it's not Morris Ayin, but he's thinking about it. It's in the chedrei chadarim of his heart. Good kasha. Hilchach gazor ba rabbanan ala and paslu. Says asmi derbanan. The asham taloi comes in safek. Chiv kares. Okay. Kigon shteig chatichos, 2 pieces of meat. Achash achelev, achash shuma. One of fats and one of forbidden fats. Man, he doesn't know which one he ate, or his wife and his sister are in bed with him, and he slept with one of them. And he doesn't know which one. It's probably the worst suffix to have. Worst situation to get into in the first place. What's going on there? It's very madna.
That's
very
on
madna.
you.
Yeah, it's on him. Yeah. What's going on?
Hard text tend to be.
Yeah. He doesn't know which one. Which one he came on. Who may be Asham Taloi. He's bringing the Asham Taloi, and he talks about Lahage Mina Yisurin, to protect from the Yisurin. Achi Vada Lo Imchata, until he knows if he sinned or not, for sure, and then he brings his Chatas. Masnizin, says the Bartanur, our mission is Rabbi Eliezer. The Amar Misnadev Adam Asham Taloi. B'chol Yom. Rabbi Eliezer says that a person can voluntarily bring an Asham Taloi every day. Yeah, no, I'm not sure. Maybe. We know that Eov was. We know that Eov was. He would bring korbanos every day just in case his son did anything wrong or whatnot. Can you check the video on YouTube? No, on YouTube right now.
There's no video.
But, like, to make sure the audio, yeah. That's what I meant. L'shem Pesach, the Pesach is also considered something that you can voluntarily bring. Nidar v'nidev. Ho'il v'hu asoi la'afrisha kol yemos hashana. Since you can separate your korban Pesach all days of the year. So therefore, it's considered that davar hanidev. And you can wait until the time. You can do it. You can do it in Tishrei. You can say, "Oh, I like this guy when he's for korban Pesach. I just let him chill for 6 months and then bring him in Nisan." So since you can do that, it's considered a davar hanidev. Shalom, right? And so they're going to say, "Oh, he's doing shalom bachutz," and they're going to take his mutter. Rabbi Shimon Machshir, the lo chayish lemaris ha'ayin. Rabbi Shimon is not worried about Uncle Morris. Lo chayish lemaris ha'ayin. So, okay. Shnayim ochsim v'sachin, 2 people holding the knife and shechting. One is for one of those things, and one guy is for davar kosher, anything kosher. Shritazo pesula. Shrita is pasul in that case. So that's the second clause. Is that even one of the 2 guys has kavanah, or has kavanah explicitly saying that he's going to do it. Asham or any of the neder korbans psula, but hashochet l'shem chadas, l'shem asham vada, l'shem bechor, l'shem meiser, l'shem tumura, shchidazo keshera, asham vada, for example, asham gazelos. If he lied, he has to bring an asham, or if he was kofer mamon, he says, I never borrowed money from you. The Asham Me'ilos, there's also Asham Me'ilos, we use thing in the base of Mikdash for Chulin purposes, or Asham Shifcha Charuva. You have this Shifcha Charuva, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna get this Shifcha for his son, and then he sleeps with her. Maybe it's bringing Asham. I don't know exactly the Shifcha Charuva. It's an interesting lashon Charuva. Reb Shlomo Yankiv yesterday, he made the hair or a line, and he said a joke. He said it's lashon charif, which is a nekuda. Maybe it is. What is lashon shifcha charufa? The Mefarshim don't tell us here because it's such like a bezundara sugya. You know what means bezundara sugya? A side sugya.
is in the
Like somewhere else in Shas, they'll talk about
yonder.
Shepach Haruba. Yeah. Same Bechor l'shem Meiser. But the other Inji the Sheker, everyone knows that he's lying. Because Meiser, everyone knows as a cult, really. I don't know if Meiser is so like, everyone knows Meiser, Meiser. He's low. Umei the other Mikmihachi. He knows already it's Meiser. And so they know that if they've never heard this guy's Meiser, then like if he's doing Meiser, he's lying. The ilu hahi shaita lav b'nei afrushe nenuk. At that time he gave him malfresh. The name Hajda Kimikadishlu to say that no, you're just making them now. Zeh klal. This is the klal. So even though Rashi says in the Gemara they'll explain it, but we're doing it with the Bartanura right now. And so the Bartanura is explaining it to people who just want to learn the Mishnah. And so the Bartanura is going to explain the klal. Zeh klal. It's a little bit of a spoiler during doing Bartanura before Gemara, but that's what we're doing today. And we're looking at the Mishnah today. Zaklal, le'asuye im amar harei nishochet l'shem olas nazir. What are they going to include? The ola of a nazir. Shehi pesul. That's also possible. You don't have to worry about destruction that comes out of it. The other hello nazir. Everyone knows that this guy's not a nazir. They'll say maybe he made a Naziris privately, right? I think we know all the Nazirs. Maybe there are Nazirs out there in the world that we don't know about. Maybe they're just very tsanua Nazir. Zajlo should be over 30 days. Shoes dam Naziris. It's dam Naziris. Since it's just a 30-day thing, doesn't necessarily like the shchena, the neighbors are gonna know like I have a Nazir next door because only 30 days. And so since it could be that he is a Nazir, and so the guy says that he's gonna do this for an Ola Nazir, people are gonna be like, I guess you could bring kachim b'chutz, I guess you could bring korbanos outside the Beis Hamikdash. Because remember, they told us the principle. Everything that is nidar v'nidev is coming to include olas nazir. And what if it's not nidar v'nidev? V'asuye ola as yoledes. The ola of the female who gives birth. Sheim Amar l'Shem Olas Yoledes beferish kasher. If he explicitly says, "I'm doing this for Olas Yoledes," it's kosher. Ba'afilu l'Shem Isha she'ena chayeves korban leda. And even for the name of a woman who's not chayev a korban, birth korban. Very interesting, by the way. That every time a girl gives birth, she has to bring a korban.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's wild. It's like...
And you have to do like a pidyon for like...
Depends. But she gives birth, korban. What about C-section? Is it only a natural birth? We don't know. There's also Bazinder, so yeah. What would you have thought? Since she's not chayev as korban, lo hayasazo ella nidava. This is nothing but a voluntary korban kamash balad. We hear from here to imor shemei bila. That since it's possible that someone who sees it will say, "Oh, maybe she had a baby and stillborn." Chas v'shalom. Timabeles in lakol, because a stillborn no one knows about. It's not like people don't talk about it. It's not like news around town. V'nimta korban zeh chova. So you see that the korban is a chova, and since the chova, if you shecht for the name of that, you're not chayiv. The only thing is that we don't want people to get confused. So something which you could produce with your speech is usher to bring, usher to have that kavanah when you're shechting chulin. Something which you do not bring with your speech is mutter. And Olas Yoleda is mutter. That's what the Gemara is going to tell us. Let's see. Let us see. Here we go. Gemara. Okay, let's go a little bit into the Gemara here. Hashoche l'shem ola. Someone who shechts for an ola, etc. Asham taloi bar nidev and nidev. Who says the Gemara? What are you talking about? Asham taloi. Asham taloi. You have to, in order you got to bring in Asham taloi so bad. Go have suffix sister, suffix wife. You know, go have suffix chelev, suffix shuman. What are you talking about? You can just make a dava for it. Rabbi Yechanan Hamani. Who's the author of Mishnah? Rabbi Elazar. Who? Rabbi Elazar. There's a footnote. This is Rabbi Eliezer, it makes more sense. The other is Nadev Adam Asham Taloi. That a person can voluntarily bring an Asham Taloi B'chol Yom every day. Every day a person can bring an Asham Taloi. Talk about blibing shver. This guy, every day he can bring a korban. Maybe I did something that I'm chayav kares on. So they ask, bar nider v'nidev v'b'tmiya b'chol yom sheb'chol yom hu omed b'safek chet. That all day he's standing with the safek. He's like, I'm not sure. Maybe I sinned. The person thinking v'libo nokvo, and his heart is like pounding. And he's saying to him, Shema Chadasi, maybe I sinned. Matzinu shehichshir akasav asham taloi likare v'lilcha. Wow. Hikad dehuchzak safik chek be'edim. So asham taloi, you can bring it and eat it as long as you have edim that it was a safik chek. V'hainami ananzadi dekol yoma b'safik chek kai. Wow. And so we say, according to Rabbi Eliezer, every day a person has a suffix kares that he could bring Asham Talois for. And eat it. It's really an amazing thing that every day a person can bring Asham Taloi and like bring a korban and eat it and like. Is a person allowed to eat the Asham Taloi, or only the Kohen? I'm not sure about that one. It sounds from this Rashi that the person is allowed to eat it, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so in fact, the Gemara veiter Pesach bar nide v'nidaru Pesach. You can voluntarily bring a Pesach. Who zimna kabay? It has to be at the right time. Since the person can be mafresh the korban Pesach all year long, so no problem, right? But Erev Pesach you have to bring it. Bismano kavua Erev Pesach. Hilgach miyada yada divrei ruachen. He knows that they're just words of wind. What's words of wind?
Well, like vapid words.
Yeah, vapid. Excellent. Like words of wind. Like what's this guy talking about? Yeah. But no, they still might think that he's really bringing a korban Pesach outside. Why? Even if it's in the middle of winter. Why? Because all year round you can separate. You can say, how are we going to celebrate Hanukkah this year? We're going to separate the korban Pesach. You know, they can do it. They can separate it at any time. And to leave him until it's time. Here also they say, oh, now he's separating it. V'kashachid Pesach b'shari Mos Hashana, and he's shechting his Pesach in the rest of the years. The Kabbalah under Shlamimu. Someone who shechts his Pesach the rest of the right. That you separate a korban Pesach and then you bring it not on Pesach as a korban. So like usually like we would say, okay, so it's not a shema, it's aser. But by Pesach, by korban Pesach, it becomes a shlamim. And this guy's saying, this guy is shechting a shlamim bachutz and eating it. And so that's why it is Morris Ayin to do it. Amar Rav Yanai. I'm not talking about Rav Yanai yet. That's for tomorrow. Now let's see a little bit mefarshim. V'holo amar l'shem chatazi. That's Tosfos. We don't see any Tosfos in, so maybe we should go back to the Mishnah. But first, I actually got caught. Shir got cut off yesterday. We were ripping through the riff, and so now that we can't see the video, but at least you can hear the audio. So we'll rip through the riff. The Gemara asks, "My shna l'soch yamim." We said that you can't shecht into the water. The lo amrina l'sara diyamahu. So the reason is that we don't say the guy is shechting for the angel of the sea, for Poseidon. The kashachi the doch ogan shamayim, when he's shechting into like a water barrel or whatever. Namri amri to bavoa kashachi. So there also we'll say that he's shechting to his image. Amarava be'akurim shanu. That they learned about the mayim akurim. Okay. And this is a sugi that we did a few days ago. So he said we can't shecht into a hole. But you can make a hole in your house. But he said you can't shecht into the hole at all. Here's what it's saying. Don't shecht into a guma. But if you want to clean your property, how do you do? The blood goes into the hole, it trickles in. But don't do this in the marketplace. We don't want them copying the idolaters. Okay. There is a Ran on this last Mishnah here, even though it's not a riff. You look at the Ran here, you can look at that Gemara. You see the Ran. We ripped through a riff, now it's time to run through a Ran. Masnizim b'sov pirkin. To the Mishnah at the end of our parak. Hashochet l'shem olo l'shem shlamim l'shem asham talo l'shem pesach l'shem toda shlitazo pesula. So for those 5 days, the time of the go honey, the reason for all those mishum the kevan debayin beneder, since you can make them with your speech. Haroeh Omer, the person that's looking on, will say, Achshav u magdisha. Now he's being magdish b'shokta, and he's shechting it and kachim b'chutz. It's permissible, they might think. That's what the Rabbara made a gezerah. Rabbi Shimon machshir. Rabbi Shimon is kosher. Delo chayish lamar is high, and he doesn't care about what people think, what people might see. Velo kaimalon kavase says the Ran. We don't hold like him. Shnayim ha'isem v'sachim v'shaychdin echad l'shem echad mikol elu v'echad l'shem tavar kosher shchitaso b'sula. So they're shechting. One guy is shechting for one of all these, and one guy is shechting for davar kosher, the shechita is possible. Shochin l'shem chatas, l'shem asham vadai, l'shem bechor, l'shem ma'aser, l'shem temura, things that person cannot create with his speech. Shechita zo kashera. Zeh klal. This is the general principle. Davar adidar v'adidei v'shochet l'shmo puzzle. She'eino nidar v'nidei v'shochet l'shmo kasher. Zok the Ran. V'taimet the Milsa. The kishe'eino nidar v'nidei made the yada the achuche kamechayech. He's just joking around. Interesting. Some of the Mefarshim say, oh yeah, he knows that he's lying. Right? That's what Rashi says. He knows that he's lying. The Ran says he knows that he's joking. V'lav kachim. According to both, it's not kachim. V'harei ein biyado lahagdish an achshav. There's no way you can make it now. V'im isa davu kachim eikara. If it was already kachim, kala islahu. I would know that this guy's got a korban pesach, I would know that this guy's got a chatas, that this guy's got a bechor, asham vada. The Pesach nami hainu taima. The however fashaso kol sharakula. Pesach says you can bring it all the time. The Gemara as the hasham vadai is not. You can't just bring an hasham vadai. Umetaktina, and they add the Hamani Rabbi Eliezer. It's Rabbi Eliezer who the Amar misnadev asham adam asham taloi b'chol yom. Person can bring an asham taloi whenever he wants. Perush levisha b'chol yom hu omed b'safek chet. Every day. Maybe he sinned, right? Did you have meat that day? You think it was like shuman, and like the fat on the meat was just legal fat, but do you know for sure? Right? You think your wife was not in nida, but maybe. And so since there's so many safek kareses that are just going around, as a person can bring the ashram taloi all day, every day. This we didn't even see in the Gemara yet, but we'll see in the Ran. That we didn't learn that except for Tamim Korban Pesach. But Balimumim miyadiyada. Balimumim, they know. The Meshaker, they're lying. Because if the guy is like bringing a three-legged korban, he's going to say, oh, I'm doing this for Korban Pesach. Everyone knows, like, yeah, right, this guy's kidding around, you know. Stop joshing, they say to this guy. Because you can't bring a Balimum as a Korban Pesach. Rabbi Yochanan is a piece of Balimum Nami lo Zmanin, even Balimum also not, because sometimes the Derami lay midi amuma veloyada. Sometimes that there's a mum, but he doesn't know about it. Umina dishachu avazim v'tarnagolim, and so from that you can check avazim v'tarnagolim. You can check poultry. You never bring turkey, geese, and chickens on the mizbeach. You know, why don't we bring chickens everybody mizbeach? I don't know. Ela Torah moving Yona, only doves and turtle doves. Bilvad. He knows that he's lying, and so they're also kosher. Even the person says, "Oh, I'm going to bring this as a korban pesach, or whatever. Bring this as a zvachim." And so, wow, this is the answer. The Ran comes with a great answer at the end of his words. Since these dinim are not common, meaning they're not shayach. Oh, but they are shayach bisman hazeh, right? Bisman hazeh also, a person say, "Oh, I'm going to bring it for a kachif for." So since they're not mitzuyim, that's why the Alfasi kept them out. That's why the Rif left them out. So it says the Ran, therefore I'm also going to keep it short. Okay. So if that's what the Ran is saying and the Rif is saying, that we should keep it short. So maybe I'll do a little bit more, but I don't want to finish the pehk today. Tomorrow we'll glean that for Zocher. Rav Yada lo shanu ella tamimim, right? The perfect. That well, if it's a balamum, so obviously you can't bring it to korban. Miyada yada, everyone knows. Rav Yochanan says even balamum interesting. Nami kazimnin the ramilu midi amuma velo yadia. Because maybe someone accidentally brings a balamum. He says, you know that he's lying. It's not going to be a destruction that comes from it. What do you mean a destruction that comes from it? Yes, guys. Or maybe guys. But what's the korban is that the guy's going to think that it's mutter to shecht.
It's going to lead to
Kachim outside.
Assuming the wrong thing. So they will definitely do bad.
Right. They might do it, and he put that a disaster comes from it. But if it's a balmum, and everyone knows that balmum, you can't bring it as a korban. So everyone knows, and so you're not chayav. And so it's kosher because no one's gonna think that it's mutter to bring kachim outside. And so a disaster will not cover it. Dirami midi amuma. Sometimes the person has mum, says Yochanan. Sometimes the mum is like hidden in the wall. Obetit, or it's covered over with cement. But Lochazul didn't see it, and Safri Tamu thinks that it's a kosher animal. Okay, tomorrow we will go and we will finish the last part of this Mishnah, which talks about chatas and asham badai and things that a person cannot just voluntarily bring. And Mr. Shem will finish the pehk tomorrow. Maybe move on to Iltrefis. Yes, Rabbi Shlita, what do you say?
This week's PASHUT.
Yeah?
It brings up the mitzvah of Nidarim and Chulin.
Amazing. Okay, Shkaya, I can see by the clock on the wall that it's time to wish to one and all goodbye.
Goodbye.
Farewell. So long. Adieu. Say Ram Yafos. Echapam. Moshe Barucho. Dam the Gavschos. Dam Zuatova. Oy Vezatayra. Oy Vezabriais. Adu Manvu. Goodbye until we shteig again. Do 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 do.